Hey, what's up, Ragnarok fans? So I'm gonna show you today how to set up auto hunting for your characters efficiently. We're gonna take a couple of different scenarios into consideration. So we're gonna go with a scenario where you just want like loot. We're gonna go with a scenario where you don't have any spells to cast, all sorts of different things. I'm gonna be using my mage. This is open beta testing phase 2. So let's get started. Like the most, let's say, asked question or like how to even start auto hunt. Well, the auto hunting thing is in two different places. So you have these two buttons. You can move them around your screen, by the way. You can just drag them. But these two buttons are effectively it. The left one is the auto hunting. The right one applies the settings from the auto hunting in terms of pots and acts like your auto potting situation. So these are your toggles if you want to turn them on or off. So it just immediately went after the Magnolia when I clicked it. So let's get to the settings. You can find your settings over here if you go to the menu and just click those two little crossed swords and you get this nifty little panel. There's actually a lot more settings than it first lets onto. You can customize it really well. Like my favorite thing to do during the open beta just to get level 50 was like, okay, kill as many monsters as possible in the shortest amount of time. So for this reason, I had a specific setup, but I'm gonna go through every single tab. Just the basic tab. This is the tab that kind of makes the most important settings, I think, which would be especially teleport usage. So like if you set this one up correctly, your character is very unlikely to die, especially if you have permanent teleport options like your unlimited flywing or simply having a creamy card, which I put in my storage, so I cannot show you guys, but I have a creamy card actually on OBT. So what I do is I have the character teleport around if the combat does not occur for a given amount of seconds. I feel like sometimes this does get buggy. If you go like too quickly, like 2 seconds, it sometimes gets buggy. Or it might be the case that the system doesn't consider you like recovering SP or just standing in one place as non-combat situation. So maybe there is a combat situation when my character is like standing next to a monster and she isn't casting any spell, but she's technically in combat because she's waiting to cast that spell since I do not let her use normal attacks. But we'll get right to it, right? So I use these settings a lot so that my character doesn't just like aimlessly wander around the map searching for the monsters, but like teleports within a good reasonable amount of time. For aggressive maps, there's also an option to, have the character teleport whenever there are too many monsters on the screen, which, I'm auto hunting for leveling up. I haven't had to use that yet, but it would be viable for places like, I don't know, Pay on Dungeon or something. Let's check it out. Let's go to Pay on Dungeon. Pay on Dungeon 2. And we're going to check this in real time. It's auto hunt. Teleport if there are more than 2 monsters on the screen. Otherwise, every setting is gonna stay the same. I'm gonna use my teleport. See? Okay, she's gonna kill this guy, right? I'm gonna teleport her once. There's no monsters. That's one Agira. That's a big boy. I don't know why he had that aura, by the way. See, she immediately teleported. So that's how it works. You get 2 monsters on the screen. She immediately teleports. I don't know why the archer skeletons have this aura. Just that's a new one for me. Like I have not noticed that earlier. This is something to figure out for Midgard Hut, not gonna lie. But they seem to die just normally. So maybe they're just part of the question or something. But see here, there were 2 monsters on the screen, but she did not teleport. Maybe because one of them was engaged in attacking the other thief. So yeah, this is the setting. I really like it. The other setting that I also like is teleporting when receiving a certain amount of damage. That is when I'm farming places that potentially can hit me for too much, and I really don't want to take that risk and use too many potions. So what I usually did is I set it down to like 30, right? And wait, if this guy can hit me again, she will teleport. Oh, it cannot hit me because it will die. But I'm gonna remove the skill for now. I'm gonna remove the skill. turn the auto hunting back on, and if this guy hits my character, she will teleport because she's gonna get hit for more than 20. This is a very good setting for like Argos, like places that they can actually kill you at lower levels, like Argiopes. Maybe I don't know if you wanna auto hunt Argiopes, but yeah, I even use this setting on Coco maps, especially before I found gear with a very good amount of. Oh, she just teleported by herself. The gear with a good amount of HP on it. So those settings for about 2 monsters still apply. You can have multiple settings applicable at the same time, so you can make it extra safe. Whenever there's 2 monsters on the screen, if you get 30 damage or more, if combat doesn't occur, she got damaged just there, or monsters appeared and she just teleported immediately. So as long as you configure the basic tab the right way, you will probably not die. This is the most important. Tab in my opinion. I have not tried the PvP areas, so I don't know about the counterattack setting. And the KS, I mean, this probably applies to only the PvP maps, right? Auto use resurrection items. So if you have token of Siegfrieds, yeah, this can help. It's nice for them to use resurrection items. It's cool, right? You can turn it off after a certain amount of uses, so she doesn't like use up all your tokens immediately in case there's something big on the screen, something like this. Next is the monster tab, and this is equally as important as the basic tab, I think. And this is a setting that actually turns itself, like resets itself every time you change a map. Even if you change a channel on the same map, technically. So you can have, for example, have her farm Draeneirs only, and then change the channel. You're still technically in Payon Dungeon 2, but since now you're on channel, let's say channel B, this setting is gonna go back to all monsters. So keep that in mind. Check this every single time before you are actually enabling the auto hunting, because I found my character to be like doing stupid stuff so many times because I forgot to check this. That yeah, it is what it is. I mean, this is very self-explanatory. You just select the monsters that you want to attack. Like normally, I just select 1 or 2 different types, certain things that I really, really want to hunt. That's about it. You will ignore the furious monsters, all the Igiras, plants, whatsoever. The stuff that doesn't really drop anything that I want, right? When I'm like leveling up. The next tab is your skill tab. And this skill tab is actually, I would rather call it attacking tab, because it has a setting for using normal attack, which is your auto attack. In my case, that's the staff. And it's setting also for skills. If you uncheck this box, your character will not auto attack. It will only use skills if you add any. If you actually do this and run, it will default to using auto attack anyway, because you haven't added any skill. So that's something to remember as well. I don't know if you guys caught that. So I made the character not use the normal attack. I unchecked the box, but I haven't added any skill in replace of that auto attack. So the game still thought, okay, this normal attack box should be applicable anyway. So my character ends up using auto attacks regardless of this box being unchecked. So that's something to remember. Whenever you don't want the character to use any normal attacks, you have to input some sort of skill to it. You can input different levels of skills into it, even of the same skill. So I would go, for example, Air Spike 1, and then Air Spike level 5. This must have been changed. This is something that... this is new. Like, I remember vividly having different levels of the same skill being used at the same character. So, or maybe I'm misremembering things and I just kind of had a different setting. But either way, this is basically a algorithm of, okay, Firewall cannot be used because this is a ground skill, but you can use a Thunderstorm, which can be targeted. You cannot use Firewalls on monsters for some reason, which I feel like this should be fixed, not gonna lie. Like Firewall like cannot be used, but then Stormgust will be able to be used and Thunderstorm is available to use, so I don't know. But this is the order that your character will be using the skills in. So first she's gonna cast Air Spike level 1. If the monster doesn't die, she's gonna cast Firebolt. If the monster doesn't die, she's gonna get Firebolt, all that stuff, right? This is the order of the stuff. You know, she can also cast Stonkers, but we're not gonna get there. So let's see what she does. Oh wait, she cannot attack archer skeletons, right? Wait. Let's get all monsters. Actually. Oh no. Oh, because I have the same things. So she's gonna cast Air Spike at every single 7.07 seconds interval. So we're gonna go with 2 seconds interval on the Air Spike. And that should give you Air Spike into Firebolt. There we go. So you have to make sure the intervals are customized towards the idea that you're trying to do. So if you want to just aggro the monster, for example, with an Air Spike, and then finish it off with Firebolt, well, you have to keep the Air Spike at a higher cast than the Firebolt. I guess let's experiment a bit more. Let's give her a Fireball instead of the Firebolt right here. So maybe the monster will not die immediately, which is unlikely with the amount of magic attack that she has. I mean, maybe Air Spike, Fireball, another Air Spike. Let's go for harder monsters so we can experiment with that better, right? Let's go for Kokomo Beach. I feel like Galapagos should be a bit stronger. Oh wait, I'm gonna remove the setting with teleporting. There we go. I feel like Galapagos should have a bit more health. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so she teleported because she got 30 or more damage on her face. Let's remove that. There we go, there's a lot of seals. All of them are attacking her. She casts Fireball after every... She tries casting Thunderstorm and now she's gonna die. Probably. So she did get into the Thunderstorm area because she was under the interval of the Fireball for some reason. But let's give the Fireball a 3-second interval. And she should now cast those 3 skills. No, so that's gonna have to be like 4, 3, 1 sort of situation. So she should wait 4 seconds after casting another Earth Spike. Then wait 3 seconds after casting another Fireball. Yeah, there we go. And then she's gonna wait 1 second after casting Thunderstorm, but she's gonna default to the first slot if it's available, then default to the second slot if it's available, then default to the third slot if it's available. It's a lot more complex when you're a wizard, unfortunately. Or mage, sorry, rather. With other characters, I don't expect this level of complexity to be necessary. Honestly, for leveling a mage, I don't really see this as necessary, but I thought I would make it a bit more complex. The way that I actually leveled mine was just put, you know, Air Spike level 5 and leave her at Steel Shonshons, and that's all she did, because Steel Shonshons are not aggressive. She could just, you know, do this forever and ever and ever. But if you're fighting something more, say, challenging, that's what you want to do, right? She gets her cast interrupted. For the purpose of this video, I'm gonna get unlimited drink. How much is that? 250. Yeah, so no more interrupted casts. Let's make her go. By the way, your auto hunt disables itself every time you open a cash shop item. So you can buy stuff from the cash shop, but the moment you open the box, the thing is over. You have to re-enable it. And there she goes. With uninterruptible cast, this is actually really, really cool and really, really strong. You can set up a whole sequence, experiment with it, see what works on your map. So that's in terms of fighting monsters with skills. Let's get to... What do we want to get to? Let's get back to Payon Dungeon. Or no, let's get back to Cocos this time. Cocos are a very popular spot for hunting hoods and sandals. It's extremely actually useful spot because you get the same monster to drop 2 armors for you basically, which every one of those armors has a chance of rolling with 2 HP affixes on it, which is just like basically an immortality almost cheat for your low level character. So just farming Cocos is fantastic, right? But you don't want to pick up all of the trash rolls, or actually you don't know the rolls until you identify them, but you don't want to pick up like items with 1 option, you don't want to pick up items with 2 options, you only want to pick up items with 3 options, and this is where the looting tab is handy. See, it has a distinction between weapons and armor. You can have the character pick up items only until it's a certain weight. So my character actually uses gym tickets, so she has 2,800 weight. I used 2 gym tickets on her, so she can carry a decent amount of those, which is very cool. But I still only want free rolls on my items, not high, not lower. You know, I want the best of the best, especially if I'm gonna like AFK for like 24 hours and just have her farm. You know, that's a lot of items she's gonna pick up. So I really just want her to get the best ones. I'm not picking up the consumables. You can make her pick up miscellaneous items and consumables. I don't do that on OBT, but I will do this on release, of course. I mean, I want the Zenny. There she goes. She picks up the items. During the OBT, I only wanted her to pick up cards and costumes. There's a second tab for it with return to town settings. You can return to town if your weight limit is exceeded, and this happens with your return items in the next tab, which is the move tab. You can register unlimited flywings, you can register regular flywings, novice flywings, whatever works, right? Where is my character? There we go. It's not gonna stop auto hunting, so she still does that. You can adjust the settings as she's going. I'm gonna register butterfly wings as well. And this would be a setting that I could definitely leave her on. But I want her to be like as efficient as possible. Let's say I have unlimited money. The last tab, the item tab, wait, I know I skipped the potion tab, but I'm gonna get back to it. The item tab is the tab for like your buffs, the item consumable buffs, except like outside of potions. This, even though this is named a potion, small healing potion, this counts as an item buff. So basically the same as food buff, right? The same thing with challenge drink and unlimited drink, all sorts of stuff. This is basically the same for food buff. Same goes for life insurance and so whatever, right? This is where you configure them. The game by default reads how long they last, and it will not use the items, even if you have them on currently, unless the timer's off. So you don't have to worry about that. This is very well configured, actually. Really nothing else to say about this. I try to keep this as stacked as possible during open beta because we got free caster points, so why not? But probably at release, I'm probably not gonna use any of this for like auto hunting, specifically because I have like very, very, very specific places that I want to auto hunt at release. You're welcome to watch my video on it, like my plan for release. That's the video on it. But yeah, here you go. You can use those items, but you know, of course, you cannot use like megaphones. You cannot use stuff that are not actually buffs. Last but not least, the potions. The potions are tricky because you got 2 of them. And I've noticed, I mean, some people were like talking to me, like, and like we were trying to figure things out. Some people get it confused. It doesn't matter which one is set up lower or higher. If it's the left one or the right one, it's always, you know, the percentage that applies, it's gonna get used. So the percentage that is actually reached first is gonna get applied first. So let's say I have an orange potion set to be used at 50%, and I have a piece of milk, like a bottle of milk, set up to be used at 80% of my health. So whenever my health reaches 80% or below, she's gonna use milk. But at the same time, if my health by accident reaches below 50%, she's gonna use something bigger, like an orange potion. And I have it set it up specifically this way so that I can survive bigger shots. If I get like auto-attacked, then it's probably gonna get me to about 80%, and one milk is gonna cover that, right? But if I get hit with this, like a monster skill, which sometimes happens, even on a level 50 character when she's farming, especially with like not that much agi, she's using 27 agi, I want to be able to survive that and like make sure that my HP goes up as soon as possible. So she doesn't use like 3 milks to get back to it. She uses 1 orange potion, which is probably gonna get me back to like 90% of my health. I find this to be really useful. This way, you guys can, experiment with your own settings, of course. I encourage you to do that. The cool thing about using potions is that if you have like potion boxes, it's gonna open the boxes automatically when you run out of potions and keep using those potions. So it recognizes that you have things stacked in boxes that do not weigh anything. So you do not have to actually open them and like overburden yourself just by carrying potions. That is great, right? I think that's a fantastic setting. The same applies for SP recovery. I would usually have like regular blue potions, which would just get back like so much SP, right? And then we would have those novice potions, which I don't have anymore, I think. Yeah, I think I've used them up. But there were the smaller potions that I would have usable at like higher intervals, just like the milk and the orange situation, depending on the skill she was using and the situation that she was in. Sometimes she would use energy code. Yeah, then I found it's not very necessary for auto farming what I'm farming, right? But that's the mage. Maybe you're gonna have a different situation on different characters. So that's really about it. I encourage you guys to not blindly set it up, click, okay, kill only Cocos, use only this skill, and then wonder why is my character taking forever to find any monsters or something like this. Experiment a little bit, especially with this basic tab, because once you configure this properly, this stays the same. So you don't have to configure it on every map. And only this basically needs to be configured on every map, because it defaults to all monsters every time you change the map. And I'm gonna demonstrate this right now. We're gonna go with Cocos for this map, blah blah blah. And let's say we change to Frontera. No, that's gonna be silly. Let's just change the channel. Let's say there's too many people over here, and I'm kind of like, I don't want to farm here. I want to farm somewhere where, there's quite a few people. Fewer people on the map. So I'm going over here. There's the channel NPC. Right here. And I'm going to channel B. And it immediately switched to all monsters tagged. So yeah, when you're changing maps, please keep in mind this is gonna change your monsters, and this can actually kill you. It killed my character more than twice, I think. I wonder, let's check if the relog is gonna do the same thing. So I'm gonna leave it at Coco. I'm gonna relog. And it's back to all monsters. So yeah, keep that in mind. That is probably the biggest deal breaker. Sometimes you just like in a rush doing something else. Yeah, let me just log in quickly, set up my auto hunt, get back to work or whatever else. Yeah, keep that in mind. You don't want to die. Dying takes 10% of your EXP, so keep that in mind. And do not overburden yourself. It's very easy to overburden your character by picking up all sorts of stuff. So just make sure that you're picking up the most viable things. If you're looting for specific weapons, unclick the armors in case you find something, unclick all the unnecessary stuff that could weigh too much. If your character doesn't use a lot of strength or you don't have gym passes, it's all dependent on your target. My target for the OBT was hit level 50 as soon as you can. I did that with 3 mages. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I got a bunch of cards, but wasn't really like farming anything specific. But there was a point that I was farming hoods and all of that for my characters. I didn't get the craziest ones, but the ones that I got were really cool. So I left like my character over here, for example, at Creamies, because Creamies drops silk robes. I set her up like this. Please kill only Creamies. Please use only Earth Spike level 1, actually, because I could just one-shot them with level 1. Wait, let me just Like, there we go, level 1. Do not use normal attack, only use this. And pick up only armor with 3 or more options on it. Get the hunter off, and that's it. And she would just walk around for like basically half a day until she found this and I think 2 other ropes that I'm using on other mages. So yeah, target your auto hunting for specific places. Make sure to tailor your settings for whatever you're hunting. There is no ultimate setting to like rule them all. There is no setting that would make it work on every single character on every single map. If it was the case, we wouldn't have the settings at all. So yeah, keep that in mind. And it's probably gonna happen that your character will die because you made some sort of mistake. So get used to it. That's about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.